Hi, and welcome to our next episode of ParaTalk. And tonight I have Shannon Dykes with us.
Hi.
And she is a member of the West Houston Paranormal Society, as well as being a managing member of Bad Wolf Events. Hey, hi.
Hi, everybody.
Okay, today's episode is actually on energy and manipulating energy. And I thought this would be an amazing episode because something Shannon did. This is back in 2013.
Wow, that was a long time ago.
Right, October 2013, the West Houston Paranormal Society actually drove 16 hours to Cincinnati, Ohio to do a investigation of the Sedamsville Rectory. And I'm sure y'all have heard of this. It's 120 years old. They actually are closed now. So I'm glad we were able to do this as a team. Now, I know that personal experiences don't count as evidence. And unfortunately, this is one of those experiences that you had to be there, to understand the significance of this. I mean, at least for me. Shannon has always known that she's been sensitive, empathic, and unlike myself, who didn't learn about these things until much later in life, she had much more experience with this than I did, still even at this time, I believe. So Shannon, let's talk a little bit about our investigation. Kind of walk us through what was going on at the rectory, excuse me.
Do you mean, okay, so you want to start with...
After 16 hours of driving and we get there.
Yeah, we were a little bit crazy at that point, but still really excited to be there. It was a very famous location. We had heard so many things about this place. And when we drove up, it was raining. And I remember everybody being like, yes, energy from the storm. And Billy's just like, uh-oh, we're in trouble.
Right.
There wasn't... It was kind of a strange investigation for me because there wasn't a lot of what I would classify as heavy activity for many hours into this investigation. We had some really cool personal experiences. I can't really remember because it's been 3 or 4 years, but we didn't get a lot of EVPs. We didn't get a lot of physical evidence that we could really put out there and say, look what we got.
Right.
But what we did get was a whole lot of personal stories of things that happened. We did the Gansfield experiment where the 3 of us did it separately at 3 different times, didn't tell each other about it. And each of us had very similar experiences to the point where it was like, wait, you saw that too? And that I don't think that had ever happened to us before anywhere else. And then I think we had an experience in the dining room area where we gathered up as a circle basically to call in energy, and it worked. We've never done that before.
Right. Let me explain a little bit about that to everybody. What we did basically is what I call an energy circle, where we hold hands and we basically push our energy towards the center of the circle in order to give any entities that are around us kind of like a charge, like a battery, of energy so that they can possibly manifest. And this was one of those last minute, we're going to try this because nothing else is happening at this point, and we drove 16 hours for this. So, okay, go ahead. What happened with the circle?
I remember that we weren't getting a lot, and so we decided we would try to push our energy out and see if we could get any spirit to come in and use our energy to manifest or make a noise or do anything at this point. It's like, come on, give us something. And it didn't work for what felt like a long time, but it's really hard to tell when you're just standing there with your eyes closed in the dark. But at one point, we were pretty close to just saying, okay, well, this is not working. And I was like, no, hold on. I feel something. Like I could feel the back of my neck start prickling and the hairs on my arms started standing up. And let's wait, hold on, here, something's here, or I said something like that. And then I heard the guys in the kitchen going, oh my gosh, check that out. And so you could see, we couldn't see, but they could see on the IR cameras that we did have orbs that were just kind of barreling into the middle of the circle.
Right.
It was a pretty interesting experience.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm actually going to add that clip to the end of this. We had several clips, but I'm only going to put in one little snippet, and it doesn't have a lot of the orbs. It has the most obvious ones you could see them floating from another area of the home into the center of our circle, as well as
another ought to like specify here that we are very, very particular about classifying our orbs and how we interpret them.
Right.
We're very picky about it because not all orbs can be considered paranormal. It's very easy to debunk, bugs and dust, but these were moving in a specific pattern as we asked them to. So these were a different classification for us.
Right. And the clips do not include audio, just so everybody knows. These are in black and white, and there is no audio. This was one of our older camera systems, that we had in the beginning. So the quality isn't the greatest, but you can pretty much tell what we're talking about when you see it. Okay. There was many hours of investigating. This was, we had a basement, a first floor, a second floor, and then the attic. So as normal, we took turns going to different areas of the house. We had different experiences, a lot of laughs, because there are a lot of, silly stuff happens when you're exhausted. Everything becomes funny.
Well, and then we're a little bit silly sometimes anyway. Even when we're not tired, you never know what's going to happen.
Right. But there was one particular area of the house that we actually went to do one of these energy circles. And it was the area that they claimed there was a demonic presence. Okay. You have to remember, the entire time that we were here, we did not feel anything like that. We weren't feeling anything, and I believe we saw this place on an episode of Ghost Adventures.
Yeah.
Before we had gone.
There was a lot of, there were, I think that it was very well publicized.
Right.
Yes.
We'll just say that.
Yes. That's the way I'm going to phrase that. It was very well publicized as a demonic location. Right.
So what ended up happening is we did go upstairs, and there were 4 of us to conduct this circle. Now the circle, I begin by talking and getting us prepared to, we're visualizing this bubble of energy that we are about to open up to the whole room, to anything that's there. And so we did this. It took a little while to get to this point. And Shannon, I want you to take it from there.
So we were, I guess it was more of a square as opposed to a circle because there were 4 of us, and we were kind of sitting in a roundabout sort of circle area. And there were what appeared to be areas of the attic that were darker than they should have been. And then we weren't really getting anything on camera or anything like that, but it felt like there was an area between you and I towards the outside wall of the house's attic that was darker than the rest of it, and it felt heavier in that area, as if there were a presence there. And again, I'm going to say, you know, it's almost uncomfortable talking about this because people are going to think you're crazy when you start talking, you know, about, you know, dark feelings and heavy feelings. But if anybody's experienced that, they'll know what we're talking about, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
It felt like there was something dark and something dark with ill intent in that area, and it was sort of between you and I off to the side, and we were talking and we were trying to pull in energy and we were trying to pull it closer because we really did want some sort of activity. We wanted something on the camera, and it felt like it should have been on the camera, and it wasn't. And so we were pulling it in and we were talking and we were visualizing the bubble. And at the time, one of our teammates was having a really hard time modulating her emotions and her energy, and things were freaking her out pretty frequently. And it felt like whatever that dark, unhappy, angry presence was heading towards her with ill intent. And I just reacted instinctually, and instead of using my energy bubble to pull things in, I just turned it into basically a battering ram and said, no, you're not going over there to mess with her. And I pushed it out. Unfortunately, that was probably the wrong thing to do because I don't think we had anything for the rest of the night. Literally nothing. Wait, I take that back. Something happened when we went to sleep. Wayne woke up at the same time I did. We looked at each other across the room and went, I don't know what's going on. But that was like the only thing for the rest of the night. So when I pushed it out, I pushed it out for real. And right. You said you felt something crazy when that happened?
Yeah. So first let me explain that when she says that she felt something coming closer to us or closer to the other member, you know, I had all the hairs was standing up, the goosebumps, and I started actually feeling it. So, and then I started feeling it, something not good. I wasn't getting the usual, there's something here. There's something here that's bad. Not good. And it's starting to scare me. Yeah. So if I had to help people visualize what it felt like, if, you know, any movie that you watch, when you see like an atomic bomb just drop and you see those waves of energy go out, that is what it felt like to me personally. I was literally like blown back, like, holy crap. I felt that go through me. And that is why this particular story for me was so fascinating, because in all the investigations that we did before that, or even after, I've never felt anything like that, you know, again. And it was incredible to me that Shannon, I have to say, moved the energy with such force. And that's crazy to me.
It was funny because when I did it, I immediately said, oh man, I'm sorry. And you were like, what the heck did you just do? I'm like,
I was like, oh my God, it's like,
well, it was going after, you know, it was going after her, and I didn't want her to get upset, and we didn't need to pull the holy water out. And so I pushed it out, and you were like, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I literally had my mouth open like, what the fuck just happened? Okay.
Yeah, no, you
so
haven't felt it
and
since
all the
then,
feelings. But
because I've never had to do that. I'd never had to do it before, and I haven't had to do it after. But at that moment, it felt like I had to do that.
Right. But I literally was thinking, standing there, okay, I don't feel anything. Now, y'all have to remember, I'm sensitive to energy. So when I go into pretty much any place, it doesn't matter where it is, whether it's haunted or not, or claimed as haunted or not, I'm going to feel the energy around me. And even walking into Sedamsville originally, even though I never got that whole really negative demonic feeling about it, I did feel that there was stuff there, just the energy of the home. Well, once that happened, I felt like, well, shit, now there ain't nothing here. We just drove 16 hours and she made it all go away.
The whole time was like, oh man, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to push everything, but oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
But it was such a great experience. And it was one of those one of those experiences that I don't feel like it could ever be replicated. I don't even care if we go to another place and actually try to do it on purpose. It's not going to have the effect that had, because it was just so spontaneous.
Yeah.
And nobody was ready for that. And it just happened. So that was awesome. Now, I will say, I don't know what all of Shannon's abilities are. I feel like everybody who's sensitive, they all feel different things. They all pick up on stuff. Some people just know things. Okay. Another little tidbit is, if it wasn't for Shannon, I'd literally be a permanent resident of Old South Pittsburgh Hospital. Because
it's one of my superpowers, you guys.
I would still be there. I don't know if entering that place gave me a blonde moment or what, because I could not remember
lost the whole time. Like, you couldn't even go anywhere. It was crazy. Well, it seemed crazy to me, but I guess that's one of I call it one of my superpowers, being able to navigate places I've never been before. I've literally been able to do this for as long as I can remember. Like,
right.
I'm one of those people, I just sometimes, and it doesn't always work, right? Like, I get lost too, but sometimes it's like I just know things about places. And it seemed like this was Old South Pittsburgh was just one of them. Like, I knew where everything was. They didn't have to show me where anything was. It was kind of creepy to me too, but I just kind of went with it because it was working for us, like I was helping everybody that night.
Right. And this is what I felt though. This is
no, not that way. Go this way. And you're like, what?
No, I remember literally I was standing in front of the stairwell with the exit sign above me, and all the lights were off. It was dark, and I'm like, oh my God, Shannon, I don't know where I'm supposed to be going, blah, blah. I'm so lost. And you came over to find me, and you looked up and you were like, that's the exit sign. It's right there. What the hell's wrong with you?
I know, but where am I? Do I go up or do I go down? Where are you trying to go? Are you trying to go to the third floor?
Right.
Or are you trying to go down to the first floor?
But the rectory was kind of like that, though, for me as well, because it did have several floors to it. I'm one of those people who I like to know the history of the location before I go and the events that are happening so that I can prepare myself, because I know I'm sensitive and I don't want to put myself in a position that might harm me. Okay, you're the opposite.
Totally
You
the
don't like
opposite.
to know.
Yeah.
And everywhere we go, when they say, "Oh, do you want a tour?" Shannon's the first one to say, "Nope."
No. And I think that the reason behind that is it's kind of self-validating for me when I can know something that has happened or navigate a place that I did not have a tour of, that they did not tell me what happened here. And I think that's one of the ways that I try to convince myself I'm not completely insane, right? Like, I just know these things sometimes. It happens, and like I'm proving it to myself and to everybody else. This is true. I actually did this. It really happened.
Right. And this was one of those moments. And, you know, like I said, it's not, I don't know much about moving energy. I know I can feel stuff. I know I can, you know, pick up on, it depends on the location that I go to, what I can and cannot get from a place. But again, this was one of those holy shit moments that always stood out about Shannon and what she could do. Because before that, I thought kind of like, even though you knew more about energy and all this stuff, I kind of figured, I think that we were all kind of on the same level as far as investigators went. I'm not talking about sensitivity.
Yeah, absolutely.
But investigating. But this was the first time I was like, oh my God. Okay, now I want to do what she just said. No, I've never gotten to that point, and I don't think I've ever really tried it. However, I did. This is just like what I said, one of these standout moments. And honestly, nobody else that was in the house got to experience that. It was just the four of us women.
I don't know. Like, you didn't mention the waves thing. I know you felt something, and then I know everybody realized we're not getting anything anymore. I don't know if the other two people experienced anything at that moment or not, or if it was just that we were in tune at that time, and so you felt it, because you and I were kind of communicating about what was happening more than the other two people were, because we were right there by each other.
Right.
And they were kind of across the room a little ways. So I don't know. I mean, I guess we're going to have to ask them. Hey, do you remember?
Right.
Remember anything that
happened?
How did it
feel to you?
What did you feel? Did you feel anything? I just don't know.
Right.
Because I'll be honest, I didn't expect you to feel anything at all when I did it, except for maybe the light coming through instead of it being so dark and heavy after.
Right. No, and that's why like I said, I wanted to bring this out, because this happened, we're in 2019, this happened 6 years ago. And I still remember it as one of the more fascinating, you know, experiences that I've had.
Yeah.
While we've been on this team. So that was it. That was the end of this episode with Shannon. I wanted to thank you so much for talking about this. I think it's really cool, and I really hope that anybody who watches, please subscribe, leave a comment if you have any questions for Shannon and how she managed to do that. You can ask away. I'll definitely get those messages to her. Thank you again, Shannon, so much for being on this episode. And like I said, I will have a clip of the energy circle that we did do and have on video at the end of this episode. Thanks so much. You have a good night.